The Complete Works of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Response to Welcome at the World's Parliament of Religion, Chicago, 11 September 1893. Sisters and Brothers of America, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to the warm and cordial welcome which you have given us. I thank you in the name of the most ancient order of the monks in the world. I thank you in the name of the mother of all religions. And I thank you in the name of millions and millions of Hindu people of all classes and sects. My thanks also to some of the speakers on this platform who, referring to the delegates from the Orient, have told you that this man from far off nation may well claim the honor of bearing to different lands the ideas of toleration. I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. We believe not only in the universal tolerance, but we accept all religions as true. I am proud to belong to a nation which has sheltered the persecuted and the refugees of all religions and all nations of the earth. I am proud to tell you that we have gathered in our blossom the purest remnants of Israelites who came to southern India and took refuge with us in the very early in which their holy temple was shattered to pieces by Roman triety. I am proud to belong to a religion which has sheltered and is still fostering the remnants of grand Zoroastrian nation. I will quote to you, Brethning, a few lines from a hymn which I remember to have repeated from my earliest boyhood, which is every day repeated by millions of Hindu humans. That is, has the different streams having their different source, places, all mingle their water in the sea. So, O Lord, the different paths which men take through different tendencies varies through their appear crooked or straight, all lead to thy. The present convention, which is one of the most august assemblies ever held, is in itself a vindication, a declaration to the world of the wonderful doctrine preached in the Gita. That is, whosoever comes to me through whose whatsoever form, I reach him. All men are struggling through paths which in the end leads to me. Sectarianism, bigotry, and its horrible descendant, fanaticism, have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it off, and often with the human blood, destroyed civilization, and sent whole nations to despair. Had it not been for these horrible demons, human society would be far more advanced than it is now. But their time is come, and I fervently hope that the bell that tolled this morning in honor of this convention may be the death knell of all fanaticism, of all persecutions with the sword or with the pen, and all uncharitable feelings between persons wending their ways to the same goal. Chapter 2: Why We Disagree, 15 September 1893. I will tell you a little story. You have heard the eloquent speaker who has just finished say, "Let us cease from the abusing each other." And he has very sorrily that there should be always so much variance. But I think I should tell you a story which would illustrate the cause of variance. A frog lived in a well. It had lived there for a long time. It was born there and brought up there, and yet was a little, small frog. Of course, the evolutionists were not there then to tell us whether the frog lost its eyes or not. But for our story's sake, we must take it for granted that it had its eyes, and that it every day cleaned the water of all the worms and bacilli that lived in it with an energy that would do credit to our modern biobacteriologist. In this way, it went on and became a little sleek and fat. Well, one day another frog that lived in the sea came and fell into the ven. "Where are you from?" "I am from the sea." "The sea? How big is that?" "Is that it? As big as my well?" And he took a leap from one side of the well to other side. "My friend," said the frog from the sea, "how do you compare sea with your little well?" Then the frog took another leap and asked, "It's Is your sea so big?" Frog from the sea said, "What nonsense you speak, to compare the sea with your well." "Well then," said the frog from the well, "nothing can be bigger than my well. There can be nothing bigger than this. This fellow is a liar, so turn him down." That has been the difficulty all the while. I am a Hindu. I am sitting in my own well, and I think that the whole world is my little well. The Christian sits in his little well and thinks the whole world is his well. The Mohammedans sit in his well and he thinks the whole world is his well. I have to thank the people of America for great attempt you are making to break down the barriers of these little worlds of ours, and hope that in the future the Lord will help you to accomplish your purpose. Chapter 3: Paper on Hinduism. Read at Parliament on 19 September 1893. Three religions now stand in the world which have come down to us from the prehistoric, that is, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, and Judaism. They have all received tremendous shocks, and all of them proved by their survivor their strength. But while Judaism failed to absorb Christianity and was driven out of its birthplace by its all conquering daughter, and the handful of Parsis is all that remains to tell the tale of their grand religion. Sect after sect arose in India and seemed to shake the religion of the Vedas to its very foundation. But, like the waters of the seashore in a tremendous earthquake, is receded only for a while, only to return in an all absorbing flood, a thousand times more vigorous. And when the tumult of the rush was over, these sects were all sucked in, absorbed, and assimilated into the immense body of the Mother Faith. From the high spiritual flights of the Vedant philosophy, of which the latest discoveries of science seems like echoes, to the low ideas of idolatry, with its multifarious mythology, the agnosticism of Buddhists, and the atheisms of the Jain, each and all have a place in Hindu religion. Where they, where then the question arises, where is the common center to which all these wildly diverging radii converge? Where is the common basis upon which all these seemingly hopeless contradictions rest? And this is a question I shall repeat to attempt to answer. The Hindus have received their religion from revelation, the Vedas. They hold that the Vedas are without beginning and without end. It may sound ludicrous to this audience how a book can be without beginning or end, but by the Vedas, no book are meant. They mean the accumulated treasure of spiritual laws discovered by different persons in different times. Just as the law of gravitation existed before its discovery and would exist if all humanity forgot it. So, is it with the laws that governs the spiritual world? The moral, ethical, and spiritual relation between soul and between individual spirits and Father of all spirits were there before their discovery and would remain even if we forget them. The discovery of these laws is are done by rishis, and we honor them as a perfect being. I am glad to tell this audience that some of our very greatest of them were humans. Here is may be said that these laws as laws may be without end, but they must have been had a beginning. The Vedas teach us that creation is without beginning and end. Science is said to have proved that the sum total of the cosmic energy is always the same. Then, if there was a time when nothing existed, where was all this manifested energy? Some say it was in the potential form of God. In that case, God is something potential and something kinetic, which would make him mutable. Everything mutable is a compound, and everything compound must undergo that change which is called as destruction. So, God would die, which is absurd. Therefore, there never was a time when there was no creation. If I may be allowed to use a simile, creation and creator are two lines without beginning and without end, running parallel to each other. God is the ever active providence by whose power system after system are being evolved out of chaos, made to run from time and again destroyed. This is what the Brahmin boy repeats every day. That is, the sun and the moon, the Lord created like the suns and the moons of the previous cycles. And this agrees with modern science. Here I stand, and if I shut my eyes and turn to conceive my existence, I, what is an idea before me? The idea of my body. Am I then nothing but combination of material substance? The Vedas declare, no, I am a spirit living in a body. I am not just a body. The body will die, but I shall not die. Here am I in the body. It will fall, but I shall go on living. I had also a past. The soul was not created for creation, means a combination which means a certain future resolution. If then the soul was created, it must die. Some are born happily, enjoy perfect health, with beautiful body, mental vigor, and all wants supplied. Others are born miserable. Some are without hands or feet. Others, again, are idiots and only drag on the rich existence. Why? If they are all created, why does a just and merciful God create one happy and other unhappy? Why is he so partial? Nor would it mend matters in the least to hold that those who are miserable in this life will be happy in the future one. Why should a man be miserable even here in the reign of a just and merciful God? In the second place, the idea of the Creator, God, does not explain the anomaly but simply expresses the cruel fate of all powerful being. There must have been cause then before his birth to make a man miserable or happy, and those were his past actions. Are not all the tendencies of the mind and the body counted for by inherited aptitude? Here are two parallel lines of existence, one of the mind, the other of the matter. If matter and its transformation answer for all that we have, there is no necessity for supposing the existence of the soul. But it cannot be proved that thought has been evolved out of matter, and if the philosophical monozy is inevitable, spiritual monozy is certainly logical and no less desirable than a materialistic, but neither of these is necessary here. We cannot deny that bodies acquire certain tendencies from heredity, but those tendencies only mean the physical configuration through which a peculiar mind alone can act in a peculiar way. There are other tendencies peculiar to a soul caused by its past actions, and a soul with a certain tendencies would, by the laws of affinity, take birth in the body which is fittest instrument for the display of that tendency. This is in accord with science, for science wants to explain everything by habit, and habit is got through repetitions. So, repetition are necessary to explain the natural habit of a newborn soul, and hence They were not obtained in the present life. They must have come down from the past lives. There is another suggestion. Taking all this off for granted, how is it that I do not remember anything of my past life? This can be easily explained. I am not speaking English. It is not my mother tongue. In fact, no word of my mother tongue are now present in my consciousness. But let me try to bring them back. And they rush in. That shows that consciousness is only the surface of the mental ocean, and within its depth are stored up all our experiences. Try this and struggle. They would come up and you would be conscious even of your past life. This is direct and demonstrative evidence. Verification is the perfect proof of the theory. And here is the challenge thrown to the world by the rishis. We have discovered the secret by which the very depth of the ocean of memory can be stirred up. Try it. You would get a complete reminiscence of your past life. So, then the Hindus believed that he is a spirit. Him the sword cannot pierce, him the fire cannot burn, him the water cannot melt, him the air cannot dry. The Hindu believed that every soul is a circle whose circumference is nowhere, but whose center is located in the body, and that death means the change of the center from body to body. Nor is the soul bound by conditions of matter. In its very essence, it is free, unbounded, holy, pure, perfect. But somehow or other, it finds itself tied down to material and think of itself as the matter. Why should the free, perfect, and pure being be thus under the thraldom of matter? Is the next question. How can the perfect soul be diluted into the belief that it is imperfect? We have been told that the Hindus shirk the question and say that no such question can be there. Some thinkers want to answer it by positing one or more quasi perfect being and use big scientific names to fill up the gap. But naming is not explaining. The question remains the same. How can the perfect become the quasi perfect? How can the pure become the absolute? The change, even a microscopic particle of its nature. But the human is sincere. He does not want to take shelter under sophistry. He is brave enough to face the question in the manly fashion, and his answer is I do not know. I do not know how the perfect human being, the soul, came to think of itself as imperfect, as joined to and conditioned by matter. But the fact is a fact for all that. It is a fact in everybody's consciousness that one thinks of the oneself has the body. The Hindu does not attempt to explain why only one thing one is a body. The answer that it is the will of the God is no explanation. There is nothing more than what the Hindus say. I do not know. Well, then the human soul is eternal and immortal, perfect and infinite. And that means only a change of center from one body to another. The present is determined by our own past and future by present. The soul will go on revolving up and reverting back from birth to birth and death to death. But here is another question. Is man a tiny boat in a tempest, raised one moment on the foamy crest of the pillow and dashed down into the yawning chasm the next, rolling to and fro at the mercy of good and bad actions? A powerless, helpless wreck in and every raging, every rushing, uncompromising current of cause and effect. A little mote placed under the wheel of the causation which rolls on, crushing everything in its way and waits not for the widow's tears or the orphan's cry. The heart sinks at the idea, yet this is the law of nature. Is there no hope? Is there no escape? Was the cry that went up from the bottom of the heart of despair. It reached the throne of mercy, and the words of hope and consolation came down and inspired a Vedic sage. And he stood up before the world and East in trumpet voice proclaimed the glad tidings. Hear, ye children of immortal bliss, even you that reside in higher spheres, I have found the Ancient One who is beyond all darkness, all delusions. Knowing him alone, you shall be saved from death over again. Children of immortal bliss, what a sweet, what a hopeful name. Allow me to call you, brethren, by that sweet name. Years of immortal breeds. The human refuses to call you sinner. You are the children of God, the sharer of immortal bliss, holy and perfect being. You divinities on earth, sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing libel on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that you are the sheep. You are souls immortal, spirits free, blessed, and eternal. You are not matter, you are not bodies. Matter is your servant, and not you are the servant of the matter. Thus, it is that the Vedas proclaim not a dreadful communication of unforgettable laws, not an endless prison of cause and effect, but but that at the head of all these laws, in and through every particle of matter and forces, stands one by whose command the wind blows, the fire burns, and the cloud rains, and death stalks upon the earth. And what is his nature? He is everywhere, the pure and the formless one, the Almighty and all merciful. Thou art our Father, Thou art our Mother, Thou art our beloved friends, Thou art the source of all strength. Give us strength, Thou art He that beareth the burdens of the universe. Help me bear the little burden of His life. Thus sang the rishis of the Vedas, and how to worship him through love. He is to be worshipped as one beloved and dearer than everything in this and the next life.